the best version of yourself, it's a work of art. It is something that you keep working on. It is something that develops, something that progresses, and that is your best version of yourself, because all of you are unique. One of the key aspects of being the best version of yourself is transcending dualities, transcending conditioning. Because conditioning and dualities are those things that they're like stick in the wheel. And therefore, by deconditioning, transcending dualities, we stop resonating at those lowest patterns. We disengage from those lowest patterns, lowest expressions of qualities. There are three parts to the resonance. Now we discussed a little bit about the lowest part of the resonance. That's when we dip in the challenges and in those lower parts. There's a middle part, which is that which is normal. That which you say, oh, this is my normal day, my normal self. That's how usually I am. And then there are the higher, the top part, when you're hitting your top, when the things align, for example, perfectly, and you say the right words at the right time, then people think, oh, wow, this person is such a nice person. And then you get a sense that, wow, I did something really good. Or you say, wow, I surprised myself. Or you feel that you did something heartfully, lovingly, kindly. So your heart opens up and you sense that, wow, this is the right thing. This is a higher expression of myself. So that is the top part. Of course, there's another top part when you meditate, and in the right moment, in the right environment, with the right help, you just hit something way higher, like beyond your best version of yourself. You hit something way high, you get this really high experience of bliss or divine love and so on. So, but then it was something very big, and this is not really normal to you, and then of course you say, I want more of that since it was so good. It's possible. So I want more of that. I'm gonna work on that. And normally people, when they have this high experience, they realize it's possible, it's doable. Somehow I got there once, and people are smart beings. So they say, if I did it once, there might be a way to do it second time too. So that is the beauty of experience. So as we explore those 3 or 4 parts, we may say, the lowest, the middle, the top, and even higher up, the high experiences. This is what makes up, generally speaking, your version of yourself. So your present version of yourself has already improved greatly over the years, and you have already polished up yourself and maturing and growing, practicing non-reaction and managing your emotions, taking care of your triggers and so on, monitoring your expressions, your words, and your reactions. Your interests are playing a key role in this too. Because that in which you are interested in is part of your reality, part of your experience. So some people may say, I like, let's say they like some arts or sports or dance or some other kinds of things, and they might be the interest there might be to loosen up. It might be to come out of the head. So if one really looks closer, you might find that like you like going to party because you just want to loosen up from the mind, not to be so serious. Or you like watching football because you just, again, it kind of helps you to relax and think about anything else. But if we observe these behaviors or interests, and if we ask why we're interested in this or that, we will see that behind the question of why, there is something there behind it. So, for example, to loosen up, to not be in the head so much, to, some people say, to feel more free, to have fun. And the question is why? To feel more free. So we can look at our interests because they reveal what we are truly wanting behind the interest. So that is a good inquiry to look deeper. At the same time, of course, sports is beneficial in many ways, and arts are beneficial in many ways, and creativity is one of the most beautiful expressions of humankind. So nothing wrong with that either. And if you like sports and arts and music and dance and anything else, it can surely stay part of your life. And that's, if it's big part of you, then let it be. And now we're just looking from the perspective of a better version of yourself. So how you would be as your awakened self, as your, let's say, enlightened or self-realized self. So what I found for myself and for many people throughout years is that some things stay in their liking, in their interest, and some things change. Normally, what stays is something that is natural, something that is a very natural part of you. And normally, what doesn't stay anymore is that which was not so natural, after all, which had another reason for that interest or that behavior. So in the example of a lower interest in, let's say, sports, dance, and whatever, or music and so on, let's say one was playing a piano or a flute or something else because it just helped them not to think. And maybe one was pushing themselves, to get better at this activity. But eventually, the real reason behind it was not a soulful reason, not a natural reason. Yeah, it was more of a way of avoidance, escaping something, and then pushing yourself to be better at it. Let's say playing the piano, pushing yourself to be better at it, thinking that it will lead you somewhere further, while the effort is actually put not in the best way. Let's put it this way. So when you examine the real reason behind an interest, behind activities that you engage in, you might discover that some of the reasons are not so natural, and at the higher version of you, those activities will fall away. And some of the activities are very natural to you, and they will blossom and flower. At the same time, what I've seen and found is that there are certain things that were difficult in the past or at the lower level of consciousness. And when people go to their more natural selves, awakened selves, the inner obstacles fall apart. The inner obstacles fall apart. For example, lack of patience. Yes, and some people just can't complete things. They start something and drop it, start something and drop it. Lack of patience is actually, there are a lot of mechanisms behind it that interfere with that patience or persistency or ability to complete. And these things fall apart, and in your awakened self, you complete them. You move on. You go to the next higher level of expression or manifestation, or you become more professional or more perfect or better at something. And that is a very good example that something that is natural to you will flower more and more as the inner obstacles fall apart. And therefore, you naturally come to the better version of yourself, to your higher expression of yourself. So the inner obstacles play a key role in this. When we speak about being a better version of yourself or a higher version of yourself, of course, people instantly start thinking about a list of goals and achievements and you know, where I should go, what I should do, what I should achieve, and relationship goals, business goals, financial goals, artistic goals, you know, whatever goals one has, they instantly start coming to your mind. But a goal is just a goal. It's a direction you want to take yourself into, and usually they are necessary at more beginner stages of the advancement of your consciousness, so that you keep your head focused, so that you remind yourself to move into that direction. But really and truly, it is your soul and yourself that is guiding you and directing you in the right direction. So many times I also found out that people write down many goals, but more than half of them are again mentally projected. They're not natural goals, let's put it this way. So again, they don't come true because they were not real goals. These goals were made up because of the external influences, such as, you know, media, social media. Now, Instagram is the best at that, and you know, now, like, anyways, it's just, yeah, it's there are so many platforms of fake realities and goals and fake perfectionism and all of that stuff that has really nothing much to do with the natural, authentic self and expression of one's inner self, their soul. So goals are also, many of them might be influenced. So you should also examine, is that goal influenced by external influences? Or is it something that my heart truly speaks to? Yeah, is it something that my heart is truly wanting to work on, to truly manifest? And yet again, when the inner obstacles are cleared, your heart comes through more easily. Your soul comes through more easily. Your higher vehicles of consciousness come through more easily because there are less obstacles, as I said, but there are also less influences. So you connect and align yourself more stronger, more being more centered, and you're less influenced by external factors, by all sorts of suggestions coming from everywhere. So many times I say that it's okay to receive advice, but it is your decision to make. You never blindly, follow something or do something. It is your decision. So that is something to remember. And of course, as you connect with the higher vehicles of consciousness, the influences are much lesser, especially the interfering influences, the negative influences, the confusing influences, the doubtful influences, the worrying influences are clearing up, and you have more clarity. You are more connected, more straight, more centered, more aligned, more attuned. So therefore, that is the best version of yourself. So the highway to your best version of yourself is realigning yourself to your higher vehicles of consciousness. Of course, the source, the divine self, the soul, and all those layers in between, realigning yourself to those aspects of you, and then trusting that everything will unfold in the best way, long term, by the way, long term, not immediately, quickly, right now, tomorrow, usually long term, but by realigning yourself, and then long term, everything will unfold for the best version of you. So that's where the gurus say, keep your focus on the self, keep your focus on God. In the Ascended Master teachings, is all about acknowledging, aligning to your mighty I Am presence. Because that way, your ego is out of the picture, your tricky mind is taken care of, and you allow the higher power, your higher power, to flow through you, to function through you. And that is the best version of yourself. This higher power is yourself, your higher vehicles of consciousness, not somebody else again saying something that you feel is not right for you. Then that's definitely not your higher vehicles of yourself. Sometimes the mind may disagree, quite often so. Your mind may disagree and say, it's making no sense. Your mind will say, my heart says this, but my mind says it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't compute. Many times you may receive something and you feel it's right, but you look around in your circumstance and you say, I can't do this right now because my parents like this, my wife, my husband, my kids, my job, and this and that. I just can't do it. And it's challenging. So then it's a question of time. It's a question of time. If it doesn't compute in your head what your heart tells you from your higher vehicles of consciousness, or the external circumstances seem quite not possible, then it's about time. It's the question of time. How much time you will need for things to make sense here, or for external circumstances to align so that you may proceed in that direction of your higher, better version of yourself, your higher version of yourself. And when we come to the higher levels of your enlightened being, your awakened self, it is a lot about focus, we may say, on the higher qualities of your being, recognizing the nature of dualities, the nature of transcendence of dualities, the nature of deconditioning them, and trusting that every time you decondition something, every time you sit through this grinding emotion, this grinding energy, every time you sit through this again and again, it starts to soften, to drop away. And the next time you're more centered, you're less attached, you're less resistant, you're less positional, and so on. So that's how you already know by experience that sitting through them is challenging dualities and emotions and qualities and so on will make things better, certainly long term. So then you're quite happily accepting them. First, of course, you complain a lot. And many people come, oh, why is presence taking so long? How much more I have to bear through this and this and that? But as you go along, you learn and you see from your inner wisdom self that you know that it's for your better self, that it's definitely gonna make your future unfold in better ways. And of course, as you are yourself on already more advanced level, you have gone through these experiences and inner complaints and inner resistances, then you quite happily accept them. And then you even are grateful for them. Then you say, you take a bit of a bhakti approach and you say, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord, for showing me this one. Thank you, God, for triggering me right now, because, oh, I didn't expect that, and oh, it's still here. So you become grateful for it. Anybody who triggers you, you are grateful for them. Anybody who gives you necessary trouble, you are grateful for. If somebody gives you unnecessary trouble, then then you might need to work on something else. But otherwise, if something does arise and you have that eye to see that, oh, this has come up in me, and that's another opportunity. So a spiritually mature being welcomes these triggers, these challenges, the arising dualities, because a spiritually mature being knows that it's an opportunity, yet another opportunity to improve, to work through it, to transcend it, so that you can first of all transcend into neutral transcendence, But then you may also know that it is also a gift that then from a once you neutralize the duality, uh, there's a neutral space, but then you know that there is also a gift because there's a higher non-dual or divine quality that becomes available to you. Yeah, so then you say, God, give me more triggers. I'm gonna work through them because I will have more opportunity for higher qualities, divine qualities to pour into me. And that's how you then start to really transcend a lot of things and then to start to anchor into this transcendental beingness. But this transcendental beingness is not aloof, is not disconnected, it's not present. Um, as some people may assume that, oh, when I'll be enlightened, I won't be bothered by anybody. Just, whatever, I'm enlightened, whatever. That's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. Yeah, you're here. You're here. You are aware. You're present. It's just you react in a different way, or you don't react, and things flow through, and deeper things arise. So it's not escapism. That's a fantasy. Escapism is a fantasy. It's an illusion. Embrace, all embrace, being all embracive. That's a quality. And really embracing everything. Seeing that my joys are divine, my sufferings are divine, everything is divine, and everything is an opportunity. If I'm attached to my joys, I know they won't last. If I'm in optional suffering, that's very optional. And if I experience very beautiful things, they're divine. If I experience some trouble, that's also divine. And if I work on them, it means that more and more I can see divine in everything. I see myself in everything. And everything is myself. Everything that happens is also a reflection. Everyone around you, everything around you is a reflection of you. It's part of you, in you. Well, it is you actually. So you embrace everything more and more. And then you develop these higher and higher qualities, transcendental qualities, divine qualities, extremely present qualities, extremely aware qualities. Yet again, some people may assume that everything will turn divine. That's not the case either. But that's why I mentioned extreme embraciveness, embracing all, being very present with all, being all. And the absolute means, well, absolute. There's no longer no this, no that. You don't have luxury anymore to say, this is not me. This is not mine. This is not part of the now. You don't have luxury of excuses anymore. So absolute means absolute. So that is being the best version of yourself. Yeah, that is being your awakened self. And it is a journey. It's a road. It's a progress. It's a process. Even if you just miraculously would awaken suddenly into some higher domain of existence, still it's the same. There's no shortcut really in it, apart from continuously working on it, focusing on it. There's no shortcut. Because if you miraculously awaken and jump somewhere else on a higher plane of existence, you're still going to have to catch up, process what you skipped. And it's just going to take pretty much the same amount of time. Yeah, so there aren't really any big shortcuts. There can be smaller shortcuts where you get some good help. Transmissions, private sessions, watching videos, reading books, putting your mind in the right direction, soaking up all the knowledge, all the wisdom, doing all the practices and things. That's one shortcut. Love, of course, is a I don't want to call it shortcut, but we may say it is, because with a open heart, loving heart, you skip through a lot of troubles of the mind. So that we may say is a good shortcut to a higher version of yourself, better version of yourself. But otherwise, it's a journey, it's a process that then opens up into continuous blossoming, continuous flowering. And of course, all of you already are blossoming, flowering at your own pace, at your own speed. One may also then, ask if it's necessary to completely renounce the world, renounce, in other words, exclude the world. If it's really necessary to exclude your family, your friends. Yeah, do you get what I'm saying? Renouncing or excluding something might not be the best idea unless it's a temporary process, only if you truly feel that that's really the best thing for you to do right now. But that's usually a temporary process. In some rare occasions, some beings, some teachers have renounced everything, became a monk, a nun, or this or that. But normally it's circumstantial. It is circumstantial. And yet again, many other gurus have been actually showing that you can be in the world of family, of work, and with work or doing the job that you do, and to be a teacher or be self-realized. So, well, one of the famous examples is Jesus. He was a carpenter. That's how he made his money. Yeah, he was carpenter. He was doing the woodwork. Another example is Lahiri Mahasaya. So the Mahavatar Babaji helped him to reawaken and then told him, continue your family life. Be the accountant as you were. Live with your family as you were. And show the example to all the people that you can be a family person and be self-realized being, awakened being.